Broadcasting from the business capital of the world, this is the Podcast Business News Network.
Welcome back to the show. We are joined here once again by Liezel Lane, our teen life coach. Really, she's myteenlifecoach.com. How are you doing today, darling?
Oh my gosh. So good to see you, Jill.
Glad
I'm
I could
ready for
hear you. Good.
spring.
I know you got the spring colors on. I chose a little teal myself.
Yeah, I see that. We kind of got the memo today.
We did. So, hello again. Pleasure to have you here as always. One of our dearest friends of the show, and she's here helping families, adolescents, and you name it, going through those difficult, treading through those waters. I like the headband too. I just saw it when you.
Oh, yeah.
Cool.
Thank you.
So, what would you like to start off with today?
Well, actually, I was going to tell everybody about myself today, but I changed my mind. I'll do that next week. I found myself in an interesting position with my own youngest daughter today. This weekend, she is 17 years old. And I found myself being in a position where I was being mentored by her.
Yeah.
So that got me thinking. Having done organizational development in corporate America in the past, mentoring has always been part of like the human resources function. And so I was just kind of, reading a little bit about like what are the new mentoring type of strategies that are happening in the workplace today. And a lot of the things that were coming up was this concept called reverse mentoring. So kind of checked that out a little bit. And I thought to myself, okay, you know what? This is relevant. This is a thing today. I'm going to like become a student for a minute and just kind of look at what's applicable here, right? Because you think about it, like all of our parents, they're all working in some way, shape, or form. We have workplaces that are now multi-generational. So back, in 90s and the 2000s, probably still mentoring in corporate America was very much a top-down approach or a senior over a junior type of person in terms of whether it was age or generation, right? But that was because we didn't have many generations in the workplace. It was, typically 2, maybe 3 maximum. Now, because people are retiring much later, there's a lot more entrepreneurship happening. So people are coming up, the younger generations are coming up a lot more quickly. So now in some cases, we've got like 4 generations in the workplace, which makes sense because if we're mentoring top down, well, our older generation boomer peoples, they're just not, they haven't grown up in this world, right?
Yeah.
So it's like a whole different life almost. So it's almost like 4 different languages being spoken in a way. So anyway, going back to the story with my daughter, we had a conflict because there is just certain principles and values that she is feeling very strongly about, and it's clashing with what my traditional kind of approach was through like the adulting, learning to adult phase. So, okay, I ate some humble pie. I put my pride in my pocket, and I thought, let me just kind of become a student for a minute. So if you take the corporate side of this and you say, okay, we're going to do this thing called reverse mentoring. So right now, what they will do is they will partner a younger employee or a more junior employee with a more senior employee and reverse mentor them on something that is the superpower of the younger generation, right? So let's say I have a Gen Z 21, 22-year-old is now mentoring a boomer on like maybe what the newest fintech trends are, because that is mostly technology driven, and this is the technology tribe of the planet. Or like how do you apply social media for business development, right? So I know I'm not an expert in that in my own business. I actually hired social media and marketing people who are Gen Zers. They are junior and less experienced than I am, but they have a superpower in this other way of being with technology and work. And so So I thought, okay, let me just take this little page out of the learning book. And I thought, let me figure out what I need to learn about this generation and what their superpowers are. What can I learn from this generation? So I basically put myself on the block and said, I'm going to challenge my own traditional parenting behaviors. So I did a little survey. Of course, you know me, I'm going to do a survey.
Yeah.
So 12 things came up that were pretty interesting. And then I drew some conclusions from it. Okay. Some of them are kind of fun. Like I wish, I was kind of more like that. So you and I have probably already guessed, like the kids or the young adults or the teenagers of today, they shop for a cause. They don't care if it's Gucci real, if it's the absolute like mecca of the brand. They want to shop for a cause. So more and more, it's more trendy to shop at Goodwill now than anywhere else, right? And I'll like say, well, let's just get you like something new for a change. No, mom, why should I? Why should I support big box retail when I can go support this little thrift store on the corner of the neighborhood, right? So definitely a thrifting / repurposing generation. And in fact, they pass their stuff down to me from Goodwill. They're like, Mom, we think this will suit you. We think this will suit you. So they're quite determined around those kinds of things, right? So that was kind of an interesting learning point for me from, like, okay, I'm going to challenge myself here a little bit. The second one was that technology for them ignites social change. True. Black Lives Matter, all of the stuff that has come up socially, that's their platform to speak up. And going with that is that speaking up does not mean disrespect. And that's where my daughter and I kind of conflicted out on that this weekend because, I came with this particular mindset on the situation. They were like, no, you're being old school thinking about it that way, and you're not allowing me to be the person that I am trying to be when I turn 18 years old. So I had to actually shut up and listen to, okay, what is it then? What is it that I need to pay attention to, right? So speaking up for something that really matters to them. I mean, there's blatant like meanness and disrespect. And I'm not talking about the outlier type of stuff. I'm just talking in general. They have important things to say, but because we grew up saying, children are to be seen and not heard. We shut down and we're not opening ourselves up to that opportunity. So I actually had to shut up and put my pride in my pocket and listen to what that important thing was that she had to talk about. So technology does ignite social change. And when I do speak up, it's not because I'm being disrespectful. So that was interesting. The other one was, I will only do what I love. I will not do a job just because. I will not go do a career just because everybody else before me did that. For me, it matters more about my mental health. The fact that I actually want a social life while I'm working, the fact that maybe I'll take up welding and not go to college for a bit. It doesn't matter. I don't have to fit into this whole cookie cutter thing. So that do what they love, like they won't settle. And that was nice to hear, but it's hard because, as a parent, I'm like, oh, we got to get this done. We got to meet the deadline. We got to do the thing. We got to do the ACT, the SAT. We got to get you prepped for college. And they're like, no, that's just not where I'm at. Right. So, so that was like, do what you love. Everything is about mental health. A lot of the articles I was reading, people will actually not take a job because their therapist will say, this is not good for my mental health. Okay, so kind of that's a little extreme for me. Like as I'm sitting here, right? I'm just kind of sitting back going, okay, wait a minute. But I think it's not so much about, copping out or finding the easy way. It's about I think when I spoke with my daughter about this, it's really understanding and knowing what it is, the lifestyle that they want to live, and being true to that, and not getting sucked into the big capitalism cogwheel thing, which is not a bad thing, but they want to do it on their terms. So I'm still trying to understand that one. I'm still trying to feel comfortable with that, because for them, it's about being pragmatic. It's about not living up to this theoretical version of what society needs to look like. It's what works for me. So I think there's a balancing act that needs to go with that, right? And that was kind of the other part. She was talking about defining my own success. Well, okay, what does defining my success look like? For some of these kids, it is, I want to get off. I still want to go and see my friends. I still want to go do my things after work every day. If I can get it all done in 40 minutes, why do I need to spend 4 hours here? Right. So that was kind of another interesting thing, is it was around efficiency and flexibility. In one of the articles that I read, they were saying that the quality doesn't necessarily go down. It's just that now people know how to do more and better using technology in less time. So then why must I sit here for 4 hours when I can get it done in an hour and get paid for what I did, right? So
Yeah.
that's also a sticky one, because you've got the traditional working culture that says the 8 hours a day thing. Yeah, I mean, yeah, 8 hours a day, 5 days a week. My husband's in technology. I hear him all the time saying technology is a 24-hour job, and yet there is this mindset that it's like, okay, it can be, but it doesn't have to be.
Okay.
All right. So, okay. I'm gonna work on that. I need to like switch my paradigm around that, right? Role models, thousands and thousands of role models. You know why? Because of YouTube. Do you know that YouTube
Oh my gosh.
influencers are their role models?
Oh, my son wants to do that. And he put on his he tried to get on my YouTube account. He wasn't able to. And he's set up a video of him making playing video games. I'm like, no one's watching this, but he doesn't get that. He thinks this is how I become successful. People are going to start watching me playing video games. And it's not that easy, the editing, but it was cute that he thought that. And I'm like,
Yeah.
and he sees they have millions of dollars and they're buying these fancy cars and they're doing that. And I'm like, that's not a reality. I said, yeah, I mean, he's successful. That's great. But I mean, how can I tell him it's not a reality? People do it, but it's like far fetched. I mean, it's great if you could do that. But even those YouTubers talk about their parents laughed at them and was like, how dare you? You got to go to school. And here they are. So someone's got to believe in you, but that's far and few.
It is. It's definitely that like top percentage part, right?
Yeah.
And then on the flip side of that is, like in my day, I would not have been able to access an Elon Musk type person, because I would have had to read about it in the newspaper or something that was tangible. Now you just
you can just tweet.
tweet on it or go on YouTube and go, I want to listen to the TEDx talk by X, Y, and Z. And then I'm going to go and apply those principles and, use that personality as my role model because of what they're posting on YouTube, right?
Yeah.
So it's like, my family was challenging me to start learning how to play piano. And instead of my go-to was, okay, call the local piano academy in the neighborhood. They were like, no, here's a whole YouTube series on how you can learn how to play piano. It's just like the different mindset of all of that, because it's like, that's a role model for them. It's like they don't have to go be with somebody in person to have a role model.
Interesting.
The other thing was, she talked to me about this learning on the go. I don't have to be stagnant behind a desk doing the same thing all the time every day. I learn as I go. I was like, novel idea. I mean, I don't know how to multitask like that, but they have been born into it, right? This was an interesting one. I want to prepare and plan my life for my future. So for example, here I think about my oldest daughter. She is not even 20 years old yet. And she'll be 20 in June. And she already has $30,000 saved in the bank.
How old? She's 22?
No, she's 19.
What? I
Yeah.
thought she was older. What?
All her own money. And you know what it is? And it's not to spend, it is because I need to start investing.
Wow. Yeah, we have the funds and stuff. I started saving, but not that much yet for my 6 and 8 year old. But it's like I'm thinking about buying their car. But
Yeah.
nowadays, look, most parents buy their kids cars, but I want them to work for it like I did. But interesting to invest. She's saving to invest. Oh
And
my
then I was
gosh.
like, okay, is she
That's
the
so
only one?
smart.
I know. I was like, is she the only one? No.
19.
Kids are doing that, like they're taking their lunch money and putting it aside and saving it for in case I need to invest in something. A 12-year-old. I read about a 12-year-old doing that.
Oh my God, I got to teach my kids now because all they want to do is spend, spend, spend. But this is great.
So they are pragmatic, they're conservative,
Mm-hmm.
and they're planful, right? So I was like, okay, so now you're telling me that you may not want to go straight to college. You want to learn how to do welding so that you can start
Yeah.
making money right off the bat. It pays well. You then can create your own work-life balance, be healthy. I'm like,
True.
wow, now I'm beginning to understand.
Stand.
So so that was like, okay, that was a pretty, there's research, there's evidence based, there's all these things. Yes, we put all these things, but in like planning and like in the model of everything. But when I was thinking about myself as how do I show up as a parent for this generation in a way that doesn't shut you out, that actually
Yeah.
invites you into the conversation, it is very much about that reverse mentoring, sitting down, being quiet, and asking them some pertinent questions that you can actually learn from as a different generation. So, for example, one of the things that I want to do more of is I want to understand more about diversity and inclusion from this generation.
Okay.
What is this gender fluidity? What is that? It's more about who am I choosing to be rather than putting people into boxes and categories, right? What is it about not being only interested in yourself, but working in a team environment, in a community environment? These kids have built this sense of community that is very non-traditional to the way we grew up. Well, how does that work? What does it mean? How do they use it to create positive change for themselves? So that's like one out of 5 things that I want to investigate more. The second thing is closing the multi-generational communication gap. I think a while ago, I was telling you about how interesting it is when my mom and myself and the girls are all in conversation together. I didn't realize, or I didn't appreciate how magical and how powerful that actually was, where there can be healthy debate, respectful debate between, but this is how I did it in my day, but that's not how I did it in my day, but this is not how it works now. Like to actually have those curious conversations about different things done in different generations. I think we need to do much, much more of that. The other thing was, third one was me looking to understand more about the future of our world culture. And when I say that, it is like they are communicating with people in Asia Pacific, in Europe, in Australia, in Africa. We never had that, right? So our worlds were so much smaller and the cultures were much more distinct. But I'm wondering with this generation, how the cultures start to become so much more fused and meshed together, like like those amazing, I love those abstract paintings where they just like throw paint on the canvas and then they make something out of it. It's like everybody's all together and somehow the cultures are maybe meshing more, like becoming more like one culture rather than million different cultures. I don't know. I'm curious about that. And the other thing that I love, this is the part that I love the most, is the emerging leadership, because they are so in touch with what their future world is going to be or not be. And they are willing to fight for it. They are willing to stand up for it. So I love to watch and see and talk to them about what does the emerging leadership look like for this generation going forward, right? And then go and partnering with that. And the fifth one is, what do they see as creativity and innovation? Because that's how they think all the time. They're constantly in an entrepreneurial mindset. They're constantly thinking about, well, it doesn't have to be that way. They're always challenging the status quo. They're always saying, well, what if I challenge this assumption? So
Sure.
I'm trying to be open to answering and having more conversations around those like 5 questions, right? So in a nutshell, I want to challenge parents to consider moments of reverse mentorship at home, where you put away your parent hat for a minute and you have these kinds of conversations, you ask these kinds of questions, and try to see if you can learn from somebody who is a whole generation or two younger than yourself.
Yeah.
So it's kind of like it's interesting because as a professional, you are in your mojo, you're in your zone. And every now and again, something will happen that will make you challenge your own thinking, your own way of arriving, being present, and being part of that conversation. I think we're in an amazing opportunity to have that conversation with this teen generation.
Yeah. Wow, I'm shocked. I'm still shocked about these kids are going to like start saving and start investing. I'm like, what? My kids are 6 and 8, a little younger than 19, but still trying. And even like at church, like almsgiving, you're supposed to save some of they want to go and buy stuff. And I said, you're supposed to be saving money in a little box, and they don't get it yet. They don't get it. A little
No,
too
they
young.
don't get it yet, but they'll get it. They'll be getting it soon because they're absorbing all of this stuff around them constantly. So yeah, that's
Wow.
going to be my new study project for like the summer. We're going to be doing those summer intensives, and these are definitely going to be some of the questions that we're asking, because the kids that are signing up and I'm going to do the summer intensive with us, they are rising juniors and seniors. So they're very much in that space of thinking and getting ready for that next launch of their lives. And these kinds of questions are going to be so good to just open up the conversation with them and understand, over and above helping them get ready for what their next thing in life is,
Yeah. Wow. Well, thank you for enlightening us. Now, tell me though, when you mentioned the summer intensives, right? Are these one-on-ones? Or these the group classes?
Those are the group classes. So there's going to be
And how do you break it down, like age-wise and stuff?
Yeah, so group wise, we've got 3 different ways it's going to happen. The 2 in-person ones, one is in California, Long Beach, California. It'll be at a community library there, and then the other one will be in Georgia, in Alpharetta. That's going to take place at a business center. And the one in California will be in June. The one in Georgia will be in July. Those are the in-person sessions. Then we're going to have a Zoom cohort as well that is for everybody else who cannot be in person, and that will stem over June and July. So there'll be shorter sessions over a longer period of time. And right now we're focusing on juniors and seniors. We're going to combine them together because, again, mentoring and the peer mentoring is going to be really key. We will run a separate cohort for freshmen and sophomores because I think that it's just too much of a gap. They're not quite at that same place yet. And so they get 17 hours of coaching, group coaching, and then at the same time, included in that is one-on-one coaching with them as well. So every week they get 30 to 45 minutes with each coach to actually talk about specific things that, are not discussed in the group session. So super excited for it. I think it's going to be a lot of fun, and it won't take away from their summer because, it's 2 hours a week, or if you're doing it on Zoom, it will be 1 hour a week. But it will really help fuel them up for the fall semester in 2023.
Wow. All right. Awesome. Good to know. And in closing today, if we want to reach out to you, it's myteenlifecoach.com. You can also text 770-235-8202. Thank goodness I could see it. And I don't have my glasses on. I'm looking at your glasses today. I just got my first pair of glasses.
Oh, congratulations.
And are those teal?
They are, yes.
What brand are they? I think I might have the same ones.
I think it's Salt.
Okay. I'm going to look.
I use Salt.
Well, I'm going to try to bring them out next time. I don't wear them. I got reading glasses, and then I got for distance, which is like super, it's a tiny drop, but I got both in the teal color because I love the teal color, and I don't even wear them. I need to start wearing them. I know. I'm going to
play with it. I always have different colors for different things just to dress it up a little bit more and make it fun.
Well, it matches your headband, your outfit, and everything. How did you want to end off today? What did you want to leave with everyone, Liezel?
Yeah, so in particular for this summer intensive, if anyone is interested, they can just shoot me a text at 770-235-8202, or just go to the website. We'll have a link on there for the interest form. And then, you can Google us as well. It will all be on the website page and all that stuff. So, but just get hold of us and we'll make sure that we can get you enrolled. It's super affordable because we really wanted to take the budget cuts into consideration. So it's going to be only $450 for the entire all-inclusive intensive, which is going to help a lot of families out, I think.
All right, good. Thank you so much, Liezel. Thanks for today. As always, pleasure having you. myteenlifecoach.com, 770-235-8202. Call or text. Have a fantastic day and hope to see you soon.
Are you looking for even more of the podcasts and hosts that you love? The Podcast Business News Network is proud to announce that you now have even more ways to listen live. Check out the MyTuner Radio, online radio box, and Simple Radio apps on iOS and Android, or find us online. Search for Business News Network on mytuner-radio.com, or search Podcast Business News Network on streama.com and onlineradiobox.com/US. Take your podcast on the go and don't miss a minute of the action.
Broadcasting from the business capital of the world, this is the Podcast Business News Network.
For nearly 2,000 severely injured veterans, everyday life has become filled with barriers.
Day-to-day simple tasks can become pretty daunting.
I have to carry my chair up 2 flights of steps or have somebody do it for me.
What scares me the most is just the falling.
When I'm struggling with my house, I think, to have that one great barrier just knocked down, it's crucial.
Home for Our Troops is a wonderful nonprofit that builds a
mortgage-free, fully adaptive, handicap-accessible house.
And there's no catch.
It'll be our very first home that we've ever owned. This is a game changer.
This is where your life begins again.
We need you to join us in completing this important mission. Please visit hfotusa.org and help build homes and rebuild lives.
Because of you, everything's going to be okay.